Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Uh, Welcome to our class. I'm your instructor Adil Raza, and today we have to learn SLO from grade 6 unit 7, and it's our SLO about oral communication. So let's find out what our competency is and what our SLO is going to be about. So our competency is oral communication and it's our lecture 5A, and the main topic of the SLO is ask and respond to questions. So let's go to the SLO, what the SLO is. So here is the SLO: ask and respond to questions with correct language, making meaning explicit. So in this SLO we will get to know about how to ask questions and how to respond properly to these questions, and what is the correct way of making the meaning explicit or clear while making questions or responding to the questions. So here is the vertical linkage. I hope you got it. Let's go further. We have a brainstorming session, and what is the brainstorming prompt? Why asking question are important? So you guys definitely know that we are human beings, and human beings lives in the societies. And what is a society? A group of species which lives together and interacts with each other makes a society. So we, the human beings, interacts with the other human beings with the use of language, and for the sake of interaction we have to ask questions, we have to respond those questions, because the interaction or asking and responding is the base of the society. So that's why it's very important to ask the questions in a clear and compact way. So firstly we have to learn why asking question is important. So you guys have an idea why asking question is important? So let's find out what is written on the text. Asking questions helps us clarify information. So first purpose of the asking question, it will clarify some information. Secondly, gain a deeper understanding. So you don't have an idea, you don't not know much about something, so you can question about that thing and you will get a deeper understanding. And express curiosity. The third main purpose to ask question is that you want to express your curiosity, you want to express your interest in something. It is essential to use correct language when asking questions to make the meaning clear. So while asking the questions, it is very important to ask the question in right language or in correct language, because if your question is not correct, if you are using the wrong language, if you are using the wrong word, so your question will be misunderstood or misinterpreted, and you will don't find the response which you want. So firstly we have to understand what are the types of questions. There are actually two type of questions. First one is the open-ended questions, and second one is the close-ended question. Open-ended questions are those questions in which the responder can respond according to his or her own opinion, and he can respond whatever he want. He have a choice to respond. He don't limitize, you don't limitize by your question himself or herself, like he have to respond yes or no, or he have a limited choice while responding. He have a lot of choices. So the questions which the responder can respond according to his or her own knowledge, his or her own choice, those questions are considered as open-ended questions. So what the open-ended questions are? Encourage discussions and require more than yes or no answers. So such type of questions actually start a conversation. Like we have an example: if you ask from something, what did you learn from the book? So this question is actually a opinionative or open-ended question, and this question will not be responded in the form of yes or no. It might be respond by differently from one responder, and the other responder will respond differently in the answer of this question. So such type of questions are actually initiates a debates or discussion or a conversation. And the second category of question is close ended question. They are most of the time used in the day life, or we can say that in the formal conversations. These questions can be answered with a simple yes or no. So there the responder have not so much choice, like did you finish your homework? So here you have to respond yes or no. You don't have the choice to make some further discussion or further opinion. I don't like to do homework, that's why the homework doing is not right. You don't have to respond in such manner. You just have to give the answer yes, or you have to give the answer no. So such type of questions are considered as close ended question. Let's go further. We have to learn that why the asking question is important, and we have to ask questions in a clear language. Then we have to go through the types of question, and now we have to learn how to respond questions. So responding means to answering the questions. Responding to a question with the correct language is crucial for clear communication. So if, like I have give you an example in the previous slide about the homework. If the teacher asks from you, do you have finished your homework, and if you make false arguments and the further discussions and this and that, and you are saying something which is not appropriate, so it will not make the communication clear. It will make the communication complicated, hard to understand what you want to say. Have you done your homework or not? It will not clear. So as far as the responding is concerned, you have to respond clearly what the asker is asking for, what the question maker is asking for. You have to respond clearly. If he asks an opinionative things, you have to respond with the opinion. If he asks for yes or no question, if he asks a question which is which he want the answer in the form of yes or no, you have to clearly give the response in the form of yes or no. And while making your response, you have to make the language correct. You have to use appropriate tense, you have to use correct words, correct naming words, and etc. Make sure your answer is relevant, complete, and directly addressed to the question. So for the sake of correct responding, you have to address the question correctly. You have to craft the answer which is relevant. You don't have to do that. Someone is asking for homework and you are telling about him or her that you have watched a movie last night and the movie was awesome. So it's not a relevant response. You have to make the response relevant, and it is the way to make effective responses. So I hope you have understand how to ask and respond question. But one thing which you have to bother while making responses and the question is that making meaning explicit. Your meaning has to be clear while asking the questions or while making the responses. To make your meaning clear when asking or answering questions, what you guys have to do, you have to use specific language. If the question is formal, then you have to use formal language. If the question is opinionative, you can use personal language. Secondly, you have to avoid ambiguous terms. You don't have to use such terms or such words which meaning is not clear to you and not clear to the other person, other participant in the communication. Thirdly, you have to clarify any points that might be confusing. So by doing these three things, you have to use specific language according to the conversation. You have to avoid the ambiguous terms. Ambiguous means not clear. So you have to use the clear terms, not use the ambiguous terms. And thirdly, you have to clarify the point which is ambiguous or confusing. By following these three steps or by following these three instructions, you can make questions and the response explicit or clear in terms of meaning. So I hope you guys understand. Here is the classroom activity, and through the knowledge which you have learned in the previous slides or in this lecture, you have to attempt this activity. You have to go through this activity. In this activity, you will use your knowledge of asking questions and responding to the particular questions. Let's find out what is next. So here we have a simulation. This simulation is also about how to ask questions and how to respond them in a clear and compact way. So go through this simulation. It will also help you to enlarge your understanding. Let's go further. Here is the homework. What is the homework? Let's find out. Ask questions in pairs about how we can place more plants in schools to overcome the effects of climate change. So here is a question, here is a situation in which you guys will ask open-ended questions. Everyone give his response, so you have to make the response in a clear language, avoiding the ambiguous terms. Use the specific language related to climate change and the plants. So you guys have to do this homework in a way according to the knowledge which you gain from this lecture. So let's go further. Here is a resource pack which will help you to achieve this SLO betterly. I hope you guys understand today's SLO, and I hope you guys understand what we have discussed today. If you find any issue, any confusion regarding the lecture, you can ask in the comment section and ask from your teacher as well. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.